White privilege doesn't apply to me because I didn't grow up with money. That's a phrase that I've heard a lot of people say. I like to then ask those people to imagine what their life would have been like if they had lived the exact same life, just as a person of color. You see, being white in a systematically racist country already puts you one step ahead of people of color. And that's what white privilege is. I think that the title can be confusing for a lot of people. The list of ways that I personally have benefited from white privilege would go on for years. I'll start off with my childhood. Just being a white kid in general, I think I got to be a child for longer. People of color have to grow up really fast, especially in this country. The color of their skin is something that people of color have to think about every single day, and it's something that I rarely have to think about. When you're young, I feel like white kids get treated like kids for longer, by teachers, by older people in society, by everyone. Children of color are not treated with the same kindness in a lot of situations. I think about when I was a teenager and I was really rebellious and I got into trouble. I got into trouble with the cops a lot. The color of my skin may have saved my life in several of those instances. The color of my skin may have kept me from being arrested or sent to prison. Now, don't even get me started on the prison systems. If you want, I can make another video on that. And I think about my education and how I was accepted into a really difficult songwriting program. Considering that the school was a Southern Baptist Christian school, there's a pretty big chance that my skin color contributed to that. I think about every single job I've ever gotten. Retail, coffee shops, restaurants. Everywhere I've worked, I've been hired pretty much on the spot. When I was 16, I was applying to work at Panera Bread. You wouldn't know it, but I'm half white and half Hispanic. And when I got my dual citizenship, I was really excited about being able to say that I'm Hispanic, so I put on a job application that I was Hispanic. And when I showed up to the interview at Panera Bread, the interviewer said to me, "If I had known that this is what you looked like, I wouldn't have put you working in the kitchen." I did not know what to say. I think about that interaction a lot, and it makes me really, really sad that our country operates in this way. So those are some of the big ways that I've benefited from white privilege, but let's talk about the everyday things. I think about when I go to buy shampoo, when I go to buy makeup, when I go to buy any beauty products. I really don't have to think about it, actually. I can go to any store and there will be options for me because I am white. But people of color are often forgotten about in those situations. I've never had to worry about not finding products that work for my hair type or not finding foundation that matches my skin color. I think about the princess movies when I was a kid. Every single princess was white and looked like me. The only princess that was a person of color was Pocahontas, and that entire movie was a complete lie and spun the narrative to make the white people look like the good guys when actually they kidnapped Pocahontas and held her against her will. We can talk about that in another video too. I think about going to the store to buy toys and dolls, Barbies, Polly Pockets, Bratz dolls. They were all white. I think about the movies I watched as a kid. All of the lead roles were white people. And often people of color were portrayed as the bad guys in the movies or side characters. Getting to play with dolls that looked like me, getting to watch people on TV that looked like me was a huge privilege. Ultimately, I have the privilege of not having to think about my race when it comes into meeting new people, applying for jobs, walking down the street. Not to mention being in class and being surrounded by mostly people of my race. I'm never asked to speak for all the white people of the world. I don't have to worry about doctors or the medical system taking advantage of me. If I ever chose to have a kid someday, the risk of me dying in childbirth is significantly lower than people of color. These are just a couple of the ways that I personally benefit from white privilege. But like I said, the list goes on for years. I think about my own prejudices and how I have to work every day to fight the racism that's ingrained in my head just from living in this society. I hope this can maybe spread some knowledge or awareness, or I don't even know. I hope this helps.